To me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, this shouldn't be a political issue. This should be something, this is needed.
He inspired football players for more than a decade. Now he hopes to inspire lawmakers with the medical marijuana debate.
On probation for sexual assault, this Sandy man is back in jail tonight. The charges he's facing.
For the commute starting right now, you just have to deal with the wind. For the commute tomorrow morning, you'll be dealing with more. Details coming up.
If the LDS Church won't give them the priesthood, they're willing to compromise. The latest move by ordained women.
Check out all of these Google Doodle designs. Thousands were submitted for this year's contest, but this one is from Utah. I'm going to introduce you to the man who drew it and where he's from.
And they're finally in Utah, when you can expect Girl Scout cookies in your pantry.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13's Live at 5.
Good afternoon, everyone. A potential ballot initiative on medical marijuana could have a bigger impact on Utah politics than anyone thought.
It could shake up Utah's Capitol Hill. Fox 13's Ben Winslow is up there this afternoon. Ben?
Yeah, in other states, marijuana initiatives have certainly driven voters to the polls and turned red states blue, or at least a little purple. Now, that may not happen here in one of the reddest of the red states, but it could certainly flip a few districts.
To me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, this shouldn't be a political issue. This should be something, this is needed. It's needed for the people in our state. And to me, it's just stupidity if you don't pass this bill.
Former University of Utah and Weber State football coach Ron McBride backed Senate Bill 73, the whole plant medical marijuana bill.
The future's uncertain. I mean, we're going to try as hard as we can at every pass. But I understand the position of some of the patients.
The bill is facing an uphill battle here in the legislature. Supporters are planning to put it on a ballot initiative this year, gathering more than 100,000 signatures in 26 counties. The impact in a year when there's a presidential election and many members of the legislature are up for re-election could be big.
I think medical cannabis as a ballot initiative changes political dynamics for the election. There's going to be a lot of different populations, maybe people that don't typically vote, who are going to be very interested in this particular issue.
Lawmakers and policy watchers we spoke with don't think it's enough to make a red state blue, but some districts could flip from Republican to Democrat.
It's not going to affect districts in Utah County or Davis County and most parts of the state. So it'd be focused probably here in Salt Lake County.
Democrats are counting on an advantage.
We know that when more voters get out, it always benefits the Democrats.
The governor says he'd prefer the legislature deal with medical marijuana, but acknowledges it could go to the voters.
And I think there's energy out there on this medical marijuana issue, and I think the discussion is timely.
Now, both medical marijuana bills, Senate Bill 89 and Senate Bill 73, are scheduled for a floor debate on Friday morning. At least when it comes to Senate Bill 73, it is expected to be a close vote. Bob and Hope, back to you.
What about the other bill, Ben? Any idea on that one?
Well, Senate Bill 89 certainly has better odds up here. At least that's the prediction here. That is, of course, the medical marijuana extract. Of course, supporters of Senate Bill 73 point out that that bill has no support from patient advocates, but that bill does provide some form of a marijuana extract to be used with some very strict state regulation.
All right. Fox 13's Ben Winslow on Capitol Hill. Thank you.
New at 5, a Sandy man on probation for kidnapping and assaulting 2 women faces new charges for sexually abusing another woman. According to court documents, Vratislav Bilik's parole officer found him with a 21-year-old woman at a hotel. The woman told police Bilik bailed her out of jail, gave her drugs, and sexually assaulted her while she was passed out. He is charged with forcible sex abuse and drug possession. Just into the Fox 13 newsroom, investigators say 2 suspicious packages found in Provo are a fiber optic system. An explosives team responded to Fort Utah Park after a jogger found a backpack and a hard-shelled case. Police say the fiber optic equipment was stolen out of somebody's garage. It has since been returned to the owner.
There are new details today about a fugitive who allegedly rammed into a police cruiser in West Valley City last week. Christopher McMillan now faces attempted murder charges. A Summit County judge released him a few weeks ago in a separate case, even though adult probation and parole recommended he stay in jail. If you see McMillan, do not approach him. Just call 911. A Utah group says a class action lawsuit could be filed on behalf of survivors of sexual abuse.
Restore Our Humanity has their sights set on the LDS Church and the Boy Scouts of America. Fox 13's Jeff McAdam joins us live from Temple Square. Jeff.
Hope, yeah, Restore Our Humanity says they are here to listen to what the victims of sexual abuse have to say and really listen to what their needs are, what they need as far as therapy and even legal counsel to move forward in life. Essentially, they're looking to provide answers and help against people who may be up against big organizations. Kate Allen is a radio host for K-Talk. She covers the social issues in Utah and says she gets a lot of calls from sexual abuse victims.
There's a lot of disclosures that do happen live on the radio, or sometimes they'll call during commercials and say, this is what happened to me. What can you tell me? Are there resources for me?
She says the resources have been far and few between to some degree until now.
It gives survivors access to resources to heal.
Lauren Elise McNamara represents Restore Our Humanity. They've already tackled a number of human rights issues in the state, but have lately shifted their focus to victims of sexual abuse.
We found that through conversations with mental health professionals, with trauma professionals, within our own experiences, that there seems to be a pattern arising that there's a lot of trauma happening in this community. And not only that there's a lot of trauma, but that it's not being addressed.
In 2014, Utah ranked 8th highest in the country for states with reported child abuse cases, with 6,900, but was number 1 for the percentage of sexual abuse, 27% of overall abuse cases.
There have been several professionals that have come out and said, we do know that underreporting is a huge issue. So when reporting really starts happening, we're going to start seeing those numbers increase potentially dramatically.
McNamara says most survivors are afraid to come forward, and it's even tougher when they've been abused within a major organization like the LDS Church or Boy Scouts of America.
Cumulatively, we can come at this together, we can help each other, we can give each other strength in numbers.
And since the nonprofit specifically mentioned potential victims in the LDS community as well as Boy Scouts of America, we reached out to both those organizations for comment. Neither wished to make one. Hope, Bob.
Now, Jeff, Restore Our Humanity, is it already helping victims?
Well, they are already underway. This is a process that has already been started, although they won't be able to provide their full resources for another month. That full health care, full health professionals giving advice, as well as the legal counsel. That will be within a month or so, they believe. And that legal counsel will be given on an individual basis, but depending on what they think is best, it could be part of a larger class action lawsuit at some point in the future, which would be pretty major, Hope.
Okay, Jeff, thank you.
Yep.
A state grand jury may convene to get more documents from the federal government in the corruption case involving former Utah attorneys General Mark Shurtleff and John Swallow. A court hearing was canceled today when the Justice Department provided prosecutors with volumes of documents. A court filing obtained by Fox 13 reveals Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings requested time to review them, but he also told the court he may seek a grand jury to get evidence that's being withheld. Rawlings has said he's looking at any potential ties to Nevada Senator Harry Reid.
West Valley City Police want to know if you recognize this man. Investigators say he tried using fake ID to withdraw thousands of dollars from someone's bank account. The teller thought something wasn't right and called police, but the man took off. If you recognize him, call police. Salt Lake County's plan to minimize homelessness has taken another big step forward. Today, Salt Lake County Mayor Ben McAdams, Salt Lake City Mayor Jackie Biskupski, and the Volunteers of America announced the launch of the Field of Interest Fund. It's a new way for private companies to donate money to combat homelessness. The money goes to providers such as the 4th Street Clinic, which focuses on helping people who are struggling.
We think that donors will welcome the chance for us to show how their contributions are making a measurable difference in fighting homelessness.
The announcement was made at the new Volunteers of America Youth Resource Center, which, when completed in May, will provide 30 emergency shelter beds to homeless youth.
Change is definitely moving in. I mean, temperatures today within a few degrees of where we were yesterday throughout the day. And in many locations actually warmer today than we were yesterday. But totally different day. I mean, we had more wind, we had more clouds. We're even starting to pick up some returns on radar right now, although the vast majority of this precipitation would evaporate before it hits the ground. But we could see some showers with it, especially where you see these darker shades of green. And what's happening, I mean, the storm system is actually still back here. This is the main part of the storm, and this is the part that's going to hit us harder tomorrow, bring a cold front in and bring snow levels to the valley floors. But out in front of that, we've pulled some moisture up into the state, and that's why we have the additional cloud cover. And again, even the chance of a few showers here over the next few hours. Better chance as we head into the nighttime hours tonight and overnight hours. Winter weather advisory for northern Utah's mountains and southwest Wyoming, where we're going to get snow almost from the start of this storm and blowing snow later on tonight and especially during the day tomorrow. Very high winds here, a high wind warning in the western part of the state and then a wind advisory for the rest of the state. But the high wind warning actually includes the Tooele and Salt Lake valleys, where we're expecting those stronger winds. Again, later tonight, we've had some breezy conditions, 15, 20, 25 miles per hour today, but they will be picking up big time later on tonight and during especially the morning hours tomorrow into the midday hours. About 50 currently in Salt Lake. Again, light winds now. They've come down from where we were earlier, but stronger winds will be developing, more like what we're seeing around St. George, Cedar City, Milford. You can see Ely really picking up some winds out of the southeast now. Bryce Canyon getting a little bit stronger as well. Those will be moving into northern Utah later on tonight. So we'll talk more about the storm, the timing, what the commutes will be like, all of it coming up.
All right, thank you, Brett. Salt Lake City elementary students have a healthier option when it comes to lunch. All elementary schools in the district are now offering a salad bar. The move is part of an effort to educate children on healthy eating, so it's also to give them more variety. Teachers and staff say the children really love it. Even the kindergartners load up their trays with salad and fruit. Staff say they've only heard positive feedback.
This is great. This is like a restaurant. Like, yeah. Is this going to stay here forever? I was like, yeah. As long as you guys like it, it'll still be here.
It's really helping them to make good choices about foods rather than just be given foods. They actually put some thought into the whole process of what they're eating.
Staff say they're also using it as an opportunity to teach food safety. They say children are adding more fruits and veggies to their trays than ever before. A big change to an Ogden housing program would give convicted felons more places to live, what it would mean for those looking for a second chance.
And do you know what the minimum wage is in Utah? Or how about the fair market rent for a two-bedroom apartment? We're going to fill you in and tell you why those questions are so important coming up.
And Apple says it won't comply with a court order, why the company doesn't want to help the FBI. Coming up.
This is Fox 13 News in high definition.
The minimum wage in Utah is $7.25 an hour. It's not enough to live above the poverty rate.
Today, the report shows how many Utahns can't afford the basics of life. Fox 13's Max Roth has been looking at the numbers and joins us in studio. Max.
Yeah, Bob, you know, the Community Action Partnership, or CAP, compiles these numbers every year. Overall, poverty in Utah has been going down since the Great Recession of 2008. But it's still a largely invisible crisis for a lot of our neighbors.
I hope that you start to recognize that people struggling with poverty are often doing so silently all around us.
If these 100 people are the population of Utah, 12 of them live in poverty. Take adult men out of the picture. Say these 100 people are living in a single-parent household with a mom and young children. 50 of them are living in poverty. There's a clear crisis in single-mother households in Utah. Another reality, minimum wage won't pay the bills. State Representative Lynn Hemingway wants to raise Utah's minimum wage to $12 an hour. Utah is one of only 13 states in the U.S. that still uses the federal minimum wage of $7.25.
That amounts to about $15,000 a year. A raise to $12 would take people from well below the poverty rate, which is $19,000, to $25,000, where they would be able to have some spendable income.
One thing clearly tied to income: education. More than 1 in 5 non-high school graduates live in poverty in Utah. That number is 1 in 10 for those with a high school diploma, and fewer than 1 in 20 college graduates live in poverty. Now, some other key facts from the report. About 1 in 10 Utah children don't have health insurance. And fair market rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Utah is $813 a month. Now, that alone is nearly 3 weeks of work full-time at minimum wage. And that's assuming that you're not paying any tax, Social Security, or anything, Bob.
My goodness, the numbers are stark. Now, what's the status of Representative Hemingway's bill? What's the status on that minimum
wage bill that he was talking about? That is, it's HB 195. Honestly, it's sitting in the behind closed doors Rules Committee. It may never see the light of day during the session.
All right, Max, thank you.
At least 28 people are confirmed dead after a powerful explosion in the Turkish capital. The explosion hit 3 military vehicles near the Turkish Parliament building. According to the military, the vehicles were stopped at a traffic light when the blast hit. No group has claimed responsibility, but the Turkish government believes it is a terror attack.
Apple says it will not help investigators break into the iPhone of one of the San Bernardino shooters. CEO Tim Cook says helping the FBI would compromise the security of millions of other iPhones. Investigators have Syed Farouk's phone, but it's locked with a passcode they can't break. He and his wife killed 14 people in December before dying in a shootout with police.
The race for the Republican presidential nomination could soon turn into a legal battle. Attorneys are now involved in a fight between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz over a campaign ad. Fox's Joel Waldman has the latest from Washington.
Would President Trump ban partial birth abortion?
Well, look, I'm very pro-choice.
Ted Cruz defending his campaign's new 30-second spot, highlighting Donald Trump's past comments on abortion. The commercial, airing in South Carolina in the wake of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia's death, stresses the importance of the president's next appointee to the high court. The ad ends with a narrator saying Trump cannot be trusted with these serious decisions.
You know, I have to say to Mr. Trump, you have been threatening frivolous lawsuits for your entire adult life. Even in the annals of frivolous lawsuits, this takes the cake.
A Trump campaign attorney sent the Cruz campaign a cease and desist letter threatening a potential lawsuit citing defamation.
Senator Cruz, he'll say anything. He'll say, for instance, I'm very strong on the Second Amendment. He'll say, Donald Trump doesn't like the Second Amendment, wants to do away with it. I say, where does he come up with this stuff?
And while Jeb Bush engaged in a celebratory South Carolina chest bump with older brother George W., the former Florida governor continues to lag far behind in the Palmetto State polls ahead of Saturday's Republican primary. But a different story on the Democratic side, where Bernie Sanders has closed the gap on Hillary Clinton in Nevada.
I'm going to work on this every single day.
There is good news for Hillary Clinton in many of the so-called SEC states holding primaries in March, where she continues to lead Sanders by a wide margin. In Washington, Joel Waldman, Fox News.
Oh, the ice on my driveway, probably the ice on your driveway has been melting away.
Yeah, it melted a little bit, but
away.
there's still a substantial amount, enough for those who would like to volunteer. Oh, okay,
your
sorry.
people, what, your people aren't taking care of it?
I have no people.
Oh.
I have a dog.
You can put salt on it and help
My husband will not allow me to because it's an asphalt driveway and it purportedly ruins the asphalt.
Aren't we fancy?
Well, no, I mean, that's common, right?
I don't know. Not my neighborhood. I'm sure it's common where you live.
Oh, boy. Listen, when I was single living in Salt Lake, it was asphalt.
All right.
Give me a hard
I'm
time.
just teasing you. Okay. Lots of warm temperatures, apparently not warm enough at Hope's house. We do have more snow coming too, so that likely won't help, Hope. It's going to be pretty messy at times tomorrow. Here we go. So storm system is actually out here. You can see it spinning in the Pacific still, and a lot of moisture. This is the cold front here. That's going to bring some significant changes around like early afternoon time frame for most of northern Utah. Okay. Out in front of that, though, pretty easy to see what's moving into the state. So this is the warmer part of the storm, the warm part of the storm, pulling moisture into the state. Tons of clouds. We have some wind out there. The winds will increase later on tonight and through the day tomorrow, or at least through the morning hours tomorrow. Really strong winds expected during the morning hours tomorrow. And pulling the moisture into the state. This first area of moisture, again, this is the warm part of the storm. So we're talking rain on the benches, rain in the valleys, rain everywhere except the mountains. But it will be snowing in the mountains, and we're going to have those winds continue to develop. So tonight, precipitation begins, valley rain, mountain snow, and the winds continue to increase. And that's what we wake up to tomorrow for the morning drive. Okay, so we will have some issues on the morning drive, but the snow will be in the mountains only, not in the valleys, just rain in the valleys for the morning drive. Temps right now, 50s, upper 50s, very mild conditions, and that's the story across the entire state. Low 40s in Vernals, mid 50s in Moab, 73 degrees right now in St. George. So again, warm temps, mild temperatures tonight, lots of clouds, lots of wind, and those showers developing, valley rain, mountain snow in the evening hours and in the overnight hours and very early tomorrow. Overnight lows in the upper 30s, upper 40s, around 40 in Provo, about 50 in St. George. So again, mild temperatures. And our highs tomorrow really don't warm up very much, especially in northern Utah. They don't warm up much at all from where our overnight lows will be. So for the drive tomorrow, again, in the morning, low 50s, rain, snow in the mountains, and the windy conditions. Cold front moves through in the middle part of the day, and that's when those snow levels begin to drop to the valley floors. And it will snow hard, especially in the mountains, benches, areas like that. And again, this is early afternoon time frame for most of the Wasatch Front. But then it moves through pretty quickly. So by the evening drive and into the evening hours, we start to see decreasing clouds and just much cooler temperatures. 50s to start out with windy and rainy conditions in southern Utah, some rain snow mixed towards the middle part of the day. And it takes longer for the cold front to reach the southern part of the state and especially southeastern Utah. So we'll have some warmer temperatures here in the east than we do in the west. 63 for a high in St. George, 53 for a high in Salt Lake. And remember, our overnight low is about 50, so we really don't change much into tomorrow as far as temps. Windy, rainy tomorrow in southern Utah, snow in the higher elevations. After that, upper 60s, low 70s, and sunshine throughout the rest of the 7 days. For northern Utah, we have the storm, and again, we will see some valley snow, but not until we get into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow here in northern Utah. And we shouldn't see a lot of valley accumulation because it'll move through quickly once we have that snow, but it will snow hard. Partly cloudy on Friday, and then on Saturday and Monday, little storms just graze by the northern part of the state, mostly bring us some clouds, but a few mountain showers will be possible on Saturday and Monday as well.
What kind of driveway do you have, Brad?
Cement.
Yeah, it's more expensive than an asphalt driveway.
Oh, I doubt that.
And the first most expensive is a paver driveway.
Well, that's probably...
A gravel driveway is the fourth least.
See what you
Of course, your driveway's like, isn't it like 2 miles long? And big gate.
Oh, boy. Gratefully, we're moving along. Think you're making a healthier choice by drinking coffee? How much sugar you may be downing without even realizing it.
Since Friday, stocks have been on fire. The Dow gained 794 points in just the last 3 days. The Dow's surge cut losses for this year by almost half. Just 5 days ago, the Dow was down more than 10% for this year. Today, the Dow closed up 257 points. NASDAQ up 98, S&P up 31.
A new study finds some flavored coffee drinks contain even more sugar than soda. The group Action on Sugar analyzed more than 100 coffee flavors from several shops, including Starbucks. They found some drinks have up to 25 teaspoons of sugar. That's 3 times the daily maximum recommended by the American Heart Association. Starbucks plans to reduce added sugar in its indulgent drinks by 25% by the end of 2020.
They have successfully lobbied for priesthood ordination in the past, what the ordained women organizers are asking for now.
And I'm Lauren Steinbrecher in Ogden, where city leaders are looking at a housing program change. Why some say this small change would give them a second chance at life.
He beat thousands in a preliminary competition, and he's not finished yet. How you can help a Utah boy get Google's attention, coming up.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Live at 5:30.
The city of Ogden could be making a big change to a housing program that could give convicted felons more options on where they live.
Right now, they can't live in nearly 90% of rental housing in Ogden.
Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher is outside the Ogden City building to explain what they're proposing now. Lauren.
Right. Well, most of Ogden housing as it stands falls under the Good Landlord program. Under that program, these properties must follow a specific set of rules. Well, now the city is looking at changing one of those rules that some people say would have a huge impact on them. Van Sorensen and Andrew Mallory are headed to work. Recently, their home's been at this Ogden halfway house. But today, Mallory's getting released. He's been trying to find a place to live.
I got denied, and the landlord said that they don't want felons there.
They say that's the story people on probation and parole often get.
A lot of people just won't rent to us from here. The background is just so hard.
In Ogden, most of those places have a reason. They're following city law.
About 85–86% of them are good landlord properties.
Under the Good Landlord program, a property manager or owner must do certain things like a background check and financial check. They're banned from renting out to people who have been on probation or parole in the last 4 years. Landlords following the rules get deep discounts with the city. But Ogden now wants to change the program to lift the felon ban.
Corrections has not liked the felony exclusion in our Good Landlord program. We felt that maybe it was time to come up with something new.
Property managers say they often deal with the ban.
Probably every couple months we'll have someone come in. We can't rent to them because they're within that 4-year time frame.
Now they say they can take a second look.
I think it allows us to maybe look at each person case by case instead of a blanket no.
And for those who want a second chance, they say it would mean everything.
Being able to have the help of finding a house just like any regular person and starting life over again is a huge thing for us. That's our, almost our #1 goal.
Now, under this proposal, landlords could still come up with their own policies, which may still include turning felons away. Live in Ogden, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So, Lauren, when would this change take place if it happens?
Right. Well, now city leaders are still looking at this proposal. They hope to have it before the city council, maybe sometime in April. And if it makes its way through the council, they say it would take effect immediately.
Lauren, thank you. This just into the Fox 13 newsroom. Utah School Superintendent Brad Smith announced his resignation. In a letter made public, Smith says that after his 15-month run, he feels he can no longer make a positive contribution to education in Utah. He had been on medical leave since January due to a chronic illness. Sydney Dixon will serve as acting superintendent until a replacement is found.
New at 5, the group Ordained Women is launching its Ready to Witness campaign. Ordained Women, which has protested the LDS Church in the past, wants LDS women to have the priesthood, which is reserved only for men. The group is asking women to share their stories of when they could not participate in certain church activities because of their gender.
Our campaign is a postcard writing campaign wherein we are focusing on 4 specific policies that bar women from participating in these ordinances, blessings, and sealings.
Ordained Women emphasizes that through this campaign they are pushing for policy changes, not doctrinal changes. We have reached out to the LDS Church for comment, but have not heard back yet.
Police say a mistake helped them catch a suspected car burglar. Washington City Police report 24-year-old William Michael Levitt left his own car keys behind after breaking into another car Saturday. Officers drove through the neighborhood while pressing the panic button on the keys. Once they found his Ford Focus, tracking down Levitt, they say, was easy. Investigators believe he broke into several cars and took bank cards and other personal documents. Caregivers, they devote so much of their time to their loved one in need, it can lead to emotional, physical, and financial difficulties.
That's what a new study suggests. Fox 13's Tamara Vaifanua takes a closer look at the findings.
The studies show that caregivers are often too overwhelmed or embarrassed to ask for help. Here at University Healthcare, resources are available to help people navigate some of those challenges.
Nearly 8 million elderly Americans are living with the help of family or friends, and almost half of the older adults have dementia. Those caregivers fall short when it comes to taking care of themselves. That's according to a study published in the JAMA Internal Medicine.
Most of the work I do is working with caregivers and helping them understand that it's not a failure on their part to accept help.
Liz Garcia-Levitt is a social worker at the Utah Center for Alzheimer's Care, Imaging and Research, or CARE. She gives caregivers support, whether it's learning how to manage medications, coming up with a treatment plan, or counseling.
If that's not happening, it increases a great deal of stress on the families.
Researchers found about half of caregivers spend about 28 hours a week helping their loved one, and they're 5 times more likely to ditch their hobbies.
You can't lose your own friendships. You can't put off your own medical treatments and turn yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week over to caregiving.
You know, it's like a blow to find out that your husband suddenly, or a member of your family, has some sort of dementia, cognitive problems and whatnot.
Ellen Pazon's husband, Tom, is in the early stages of Alzheimer's.
This is a man that never uses an or an He can speak off the cuff.
Her biggest struggle is managing all of his needs. CARE has been a huge relief.
They really want to make sure you know what's available in the entire community, and there's a lot. Have you got your will in order? Have you got your care in order? Do you have, people to help you?
Another luxury she's grateful for, her family.
Our kids are wonderful. Our daughter particularly will say, "Now, Mom, you need to do something for you. So you should, we'll take Dad to the movies."
If you'd like to read the entire study, we'll link you over from fox13now.com. In Salt Lake City, Tamara Vaifanua, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, I figure this is as good a place to start as any. Just the watches and warnings and advisories that are currently in effect across the state, and really the entire state is under something right now. We have a high wind warning, so this is where we're going to have the strongest winds, basically western Utah, and all these advisories and warnings go through 5 o'clock tomorrow night. So we have the high wind warning in western Utah, but that includes portions of the Tooele and Salt Lake Valley. We have a winter weather advisory for the mountains of northern and portions of central Utah, and then also southwest Wyoming, where we're going to have blowing snow tonight, tomorrow, and through at least through the midday hours tomorrow. And then a wind advisory for the rest of the state. So everybody's going to get the wind. We're going to see some snow on the mountains. We will eventually get some snow on the valleys. It's just going to take time. And it's not going to happen with this first part of the storm. This is the first part of the storm, so we have a lot of clouds in place, some precipitation moving into the state, although most is evaporating before it hits the ground, but that's changing. We're starting to see some showers reach the surface, and this will continue. This will be valley rain, mountain snow. It's not until this gets here that we start seeing the chance of valley snow associated with this storm system. There's a look again at some of the showers that are pushing in right now. Most of this just leading to dark clouds, some gusty winds, and again, a few sprinkles in some areas, but that will continue to fill in here as we head into the evening hours. 50 degrees, light winds right now in Salt Lake. We have some stronger winds out there across the state, and we're going to be picking up winds into the evening hours, overnight hours, and into tomorrow morning, more like what we're seeing in Ely right now. We'll talk all about it coming up.
All right, thank you, Brett. A video showing some of the more personal moments from UPD officer Doug Barney's funeral is going viral. Unified Police shared the video this morning put together by the Barney family videographer. It captures some intimate moments, including Barney's son Jack putting his father's casket in the hearse. Then at the cemetery, when Sheriff Jim Winder thanked Barney's children and wife for their sacrifice. You can see more of this emotional goodbye on our website, fox13now.com.
The LDS Church is weighing in on a hate crimes bill in the legislature. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says it doesn't want any changes from last year's big compromise on gay rights and non-discrimination. In a statement to Fox 13 this afternoon, the Mormon Church says the Utah legislature achieved something extraordinary last year in arriving at legislation that protected both religious liberty rights and LGBT rights. Interests from both ends of the political spectrum are attempting to alter that balance. We believe that the careful balance achieved through being fair to all should be maintained. The gay rights group Equality Utah still hopes it can get a hate crimes bill passed.
We've got multiple law enforcement agencies that have endorsed it, multiple faith organizations that have endorsed it, and then ethnic communities that are also endorsing it, and the number is growing every day.
Now, the hate crimes bill adds race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, and gender identity to the list of protections. The bill passed a Senate committee last week. A Provo boy hopes to get his art to a big audience. How Google could help him along the way. Coming up.
A top executive with the Utah Jazz announced his retirement. I'll have the details coming up in sports. And the Jazz are back from the All-Star break, and Gordon Hayward says they're ready to make a playoff run.
This is Fox 13 News.
Google Doodle is the image you see when you search for something on the internet, and Google has some students competing for the best doodle as a way to earn scholarship money.
Children across the country submitted their Google for Doodle designs. Fox 13's Danica Lawrence got to meet the Beehive States winner and introduces us. Danica.
Yes, Bob and Hope. He's one of the coolest kids, or as he refers to himself as, a cool nerd. His name is Carlo Joe, and he lives in Provo. And this is his winning Google Doodle. I can't wait to show you more about this design. If you vote for him and he wins, he gets a big cash prize, and so does his school.
Vote. Pick your favorite from 53 student-drawn Google Doodles. This doodle at the bottom from 12-year-old Carlo Joe beat out thousands of others submitted to Google from Utah. Carlo is a student at Provo's Freedom Preparatory Academy.
It was like shocking, it was like this sort of wave of emotions, you're shocked and happy.
Carlo's mother, Yusan Wang, encouraged him to enter the Google Doodle contest, knowing he's a skilled artist, but she never knew he doubted himself.
He said, I can do that, and I can, I have these talents, and also sometimes people think that I can't.
She didn't want him to feel that way, so since the theme of this year's contest is to draw what makes me me, they thought about how he should be proud of who he is and not let others get to him. Carlo is a pianist, a ballroom dancer, a volleyball player, a flautist, a fisherman, and a magician. Not that he is a magician, but he believes in himself.
I combined all of them and created this nerdish idea.
A self-proclaimed nerd, he drew himself in the middle of his doodle, surrounded by his best qualities.
Don't judge people from the outside, and you really got to look into a person to actually know what their personality is.
It's a lesson his principal, Buddy Ivy, tries to instill in all the students.
We've seen for a while the abilities and talents that he has, even if it's just sketches on a notebook, but for the world to get to see that is really exciting.
If Carlo wins out of the entire country, it means a $30,000 college scholarship for him, a $50,000 grant for his school, and because he's made it this far, Google Doodle shipped over new sporting equipment. Soccer nets and new basketballs.
We hope everybody in Utah goes and votes and brings it home for one of our own.
Of course, you want to go vote for Kahlo. If you want to vote, go to our website at fox13now.com and click on the story. Also, along with the prize money, the winning doodle goes up on the Google search website for 1 day. That's in March. Live in the studio, Danica Lawrence, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Great. Let's get out there and vote for him. Well, good news for cookie lovers. Girl Scout cookies have arrived in Utah. This morning, more than 50,000 cases of cookies were delivered to a warehouse in Salt Lake City. Now, this is the first batch of more than 1.4 million boxes expected to be sold in Utah over the next month. The Girl Scouts started picking them up to distribute today and will continue over the weekend. Leaders say the program helps teach girls the basic skills of running a business.
From setting goals, handling money, dealing with customers, even business ethics. These are the fundamentals of financial literacy and even knowing how to run a business.
All proceeds stay right here in Utah. The girls can earn cookie credits to use toward payments of other Girl Scout activities, such as summer camp or international travel. If you missed out on the pre-sale, you might see some cookie booths pop up at grocery stores and other community centers in March.
Whether she stays on or is voted off, Jen Blossel sees her time on American Idol as a step in the right direction.
So I hope from this experience I just gain people that want to be a part of what I'm doing on and off the show.
Blossel is the only remaining Utahn in the contest after James VIII failed to advance last week. Now you can see Jen perform solo tonight at 7 o'clock right here on Fox 13. Then be sure to stick around for Hell's Kitchen at 8 o'clock, followed by Fox 13 News at 9 o'clock. All right, wait, let me do a quick correction.
What?
So my husband texted back. He doesn't.
On the rock salt on the asphalt?
On the asphalt.
Here we go.
The salt doesn't ruin the asphalt. He just doesn't like salt tracked in by the dog or people into the house.
And so now it's my fault your ice doesn't melt on your driveway.
Yeah, in a roundabout way.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted a correction made. My friend Dale was on it right away. But it does hurt concrete, I found out.
Well, yeah, young concrete. You don't want to put it on in the first year or two that you have new concrete.
Or children. You don't want to put salt on children in the first year or two either.
That's not good either. But I made that mistake and paid for it. So don't do it.
You just had a bad concrete job. The guy blamed it on that. Let's be honest. We're learning all sorts of things
today.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it. We've got a storm rolling in, and right now a lot of moisture coming into the state, a lot of clouds. We have some wind and some, you know, I showed you the wind speeds earlier in places like Ely and parts of western Utah starting to pick up those 30, 35 mile an hour winds at this time. Not terribly windy outside of that, but we are going to be picking up some stronger winds. Now, we have this moisture that's streaming into the state right now. Back here, though, is the cold front. That's what's going to bring pretty significant changes to our weather tomorrow. What happens from here until then, or what happens from here until about noon or early afternoon tomorrow, will fill in with valley rain, mountain snow. We'll have windy conditions. It will be tough driving in the higher elevations with some of that snow. But then that cold front moves through early tomorrow morning, or excuse me, early tomorrow afternoon, and that's when we start to see that chance of snow getting down into the valleys. But again, windy conditions are going to be a big part of the story. The valley rain, the mountain snow for the morning drive will be a part of the story, and then the chance for snow in the valleys by tomorrow afternoon will certainly be part of the story. 50 currently in Salt Lake, low 50s in West Valley. We're mid 50s in Draper. We're low 50s in Orem. Many locations right in that neighborhood, upper 40s, low 50s. Upper 40s in Price, mid 50s in Delta. We're 72 right now in St. George, mid 50s in Moab, and we're 60 degrees currently in Page. It'll be a warm, windy evening out there tonight. Now, much like today, when I say warm, the air temperature is going to be warm, but it might not feel that warm because we'll have the winds to deal with. So just keep that in mind. Don't think you can just go walking out in a short sleeve shirt or something because we will have the windy conditions. But the temperatures will remain very mild, about 50 in Salt Lake and St. George, 40s in Moab, all throughout southern Utah, a lot of 30s even in the higher elevations. All right, let's talk storms. So we get into later on tonight, you see that we have valley rain, mountain snow developing tonight, and the winds continue to pick up. And we get into tomorrow, and again, those showers continue during the morning hours, but then the cold front, there you are, middle of the day, there's the cold front Very windy conditions right in front of the front and then right behind the front. And the snow levels will crash to the valley floors after this front moves through. And you can see the scattered showers throughout southern Utah and over the Uintas as well. But it moves through rather quickly, so we're not expecting a huge accumulation in the valleys. We're talking an inch or two for some valley locations. Most will be less than that, but it will snow hard for a couple hours with that cold front. And then again, you see it, everything begins to wind down by tomorrow evening. Then we have clearing skies and cooler temperatures. Our highs tomorrow, our lows tonight, our highs tomorrow are going to be about that far apart. We're talking a few degrees as, again, the warm and windy conditions tonight, but then we just won't have a chance to warm up tomorrow because of all the clouds and developing showers. So 53 for high in Salt Lake, 63 for your high in St. George. 7 days shows the stormy day tomorrow, then upper 60s, 70s as we head into the weekend and early next week. Great looking weather there. For northern Utah, windy, valley rain, mountain snow to start, and then the snow starts to move to the valley floors by the afternoon. Obviously a little sooner on the benches. Partly cloudy Friday, weak storm Saturday brings some clouds, a few mountain showers. Another weak storm brushes by on Monday. Other than that, pretty quiet weather.
Utah Jazz president Randy Rigby announced he will retire at the end of this season. He'll stay on as an advisor, and Steve Starks, who's the president of the Larry H. Miller Sports and Entertainment, will also become the president of the Jazz. Rigby worked for the Miller Company for 30 years. The past 9 as the team's president. He hired general manager Dennis Lindsay. He was also involved in the hiring of head coach Quinn Snyder.
Randy's been instrumental in my time here, both on a personal level, his support, and professionally, a lot of things that he's done, whether it be the D-League franchise, the Summer League. His footprint is on the Jazz organization and has been for a long time and will continue to be. I just think the world of him.
Meanwhile, the Jazz are back from the All-Star break. They're 8th in the Western Conference standings, playing well at 26-26, with 30 games to play starting tomorrow at Washington.
I think we're in a good place. Obviously, we wish we could have won some more games that we felt like we could have won, but I think it's very exciting for us. I think we're in a good place. We're confident. As long as guys stay healthy and we have the right mindset, there's still a lot of work to do. It's going to be tough. We're still a young team, and this is at this point is when teams start to pick it up. As you know, and the intensity rises a little bit, and start to feel it, and so it's exciting.
BYU guard Nick Emery is coming off a huge weekend, scoring 68 points in 2 games. He's playing great as a freshman in his first season since returning from an LDS mission a little over a year ago. Emery had a great high school career at Lone Peak, scoring nearly 2,000 points with a state record 269 career three-pointers. But BYU head coach Dave Rose says the transition from missionary to basketball player is not easy.
It's difficult. I don't think anybody, I did it. Served a mission and then came home and tried to find your game again. It doesn't just happen. I mean, you have so much time to think while you're on your mission, and there's so many expectations for you personally by yourself when you come home, and when you have a hard time, because you want to be way better than the person that just left. And what's really difficult is to get back to be the guy that you were when you left. And I think that everybody has their own timetable, and I think Nick this weekend can really help him in the pursuit of being the player he wants to be.
They're playing well.
Yeah, he is. Jeff, thanks.
Be right back.
How tall is Nick Emery?
About as tall as me.
Maybe a little taller.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
We'll see you back here at 9 o'clock.
Stop.